Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Okay, um, as you get ready or as you wait until we get ready to start, go on and put your name and your site in the chat box so we'll know who's attending the meeting on today. All right, well, I'm Rebecca Pines, and I'm one of the federal program specialists, as you all are putting your names in. And today we're going to be guiding you through completing the RFA or guiding you through the RFA so that you can make sure that you're implementing everything according to what's written in your RFA. Our team that's with us today is our administrator, Annette Scoggins, Alicia, who's another federal program specialist, Ellen Martin, who's one of our TAs, and Angela Strickland. She's not on with us. She had an emergency this morning, but she will if she can. I don't know if she will or not, but join us if she can. And then we also have Erica, who's from TPI. So Annette, do you want to say anything before we get started?
I want to welcome everybody. We're a little more than halfway through our training, and we hope that you're gaining a lot of good insight, and today should gain some more. We have some exciting components to cover, engaging components, which makes everything a lot more fun. At any time, if you get through with your call, get through with watching the video, and you're like, I'm totally confused, that's what Ellen, myself, Alicia, Erica, and Rebecca are for, and Angela. So just give us a call and we'll walk you through it. And we'll also set you up with a mentor if you want one. So I'll turn it back over to Rebecca.
Okay, so today what we're going to cover components number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 20 from your from your RFA. And we will be going between our RFA and also our compliance monitoring documents. So if you want to try to make sure that you have those documents out so that you can correlate between the two. So, and then also if you have any questions as we're going through each one of these components, please by all means, write down your questions. And if we can't get to them during this time, we will definitely get back to you and provide that answer to everyone that's participating. But right now we're going to go on and get started. Who's going to be presenting for Angela, Annette?
I'm going to co-present with Ellen. So Alicia, you want to share the screen and we'll kind of walk through where we are so far with the PowerPoint?
Sure. Right. Can you all see the correct screen?
Yes.
This is what Dr. Pines just went through. If you want to click on over to slide number 9. So starting off today, we're going to start with component 5, our academic standards. And a lot of times when we think of those and these in our needs assessment, we get a little bogged down in the data and what all we have to do to check boxes. So the part that I'm going to cover right here before I turn it over to Ellen is going to talk a little bit about that citing. One thing the 21st Century Grant is all about is engagement. So what we want to do is, of course, have your RFA, what you were approved, your application, and align it, of course, with what you have with your checklist for your monitoring. But let's not get so boxed in that we miss out a lot of fun and a lot of great opportunities. You have some good resources with the After School Alliance. That's a national organization. We have a link here. They will provide you with all kinds of information regarding engaging activities, similar to Y for Y, about everything they do. They have lesson plans. But then I want to take you to the next level. How many of you raise your hand if you've done anything in the metaverse in your teaching? I don't see anybody. How many of you have heard the kids talking about the metaverse? Just a little bit. And how many of you look at your funding and go, hey, what can I do with this money? Well, look into the metaverse. It is the next, to us, the computers and iPhones, the metaverse is this generation's next big thing. Of course, they have drones and things like that, but within the metaverse, you're able to take them through your STEM education and the different ways of learning to engage in things they would never see. Many of you are in rural communities and kids have limited opportunities. Just think if you could take them ziplining in Costa Rica and you could walk them through a rainforest. Well, you can do those kind of things in the metaverse. So I want to encourage you, when you're aligning your RFA and your checklist and looking through there with the standards 1A, 1B, and the evidence. Remember, you always have to have evidence with your lesson plan, and you want to just keep saving those until next year when you go through compliance monitoring. But how many of you can go, hey, wow, we could actually purchase these, it aligns with our standards, we'll be able to show the evidence, and we'll be able to zip line, or we'll be able to rock climb, or we'll be able to go swimming in the ocean, or go fishing, or whatever it may be. So I want to encourage you to look at those, and also drones. How many of you have used drones in your STEM education? Some people? It is a great feature. You can do competitions, you can do all kinds of technology to align your math, your science, everything together. And we have a couple links. Alicia, can you click on one of the links as far as under the technology on drones and metaverse, please?
See.
No.
While we're waiting on it to open, I just want you to think about not only checking the box, like we said, with making sure you're aligning your RFA with the compliance monitoring, you're saving the evidence, your lesson plans match your evidence, which match your student needs and your assessments, but what can you do to make it fun and make it something that everyone will enjoy? And I do believe you can go through the drones, the metaverse, along with other STEM activities to be able to make it just one of those times that you're going to really enjoy with the kids, and you're going to learn a lot. Let's listen to this video. Oh, no, can y'all hear the volume? No. So what they're doing here is they're going through coding. They're creating their own drones. They're working, obviously with all the STEM components. And then they go through and have a competition with their drones and some parent and family engagement. So they're able to create their own drone, do the coding, which obviously, brings in our math and science components, aligns with the school day, aligns with our needs assessment. Once again, we don't really back any company, but we want to show you just a brief overview of the things that are out there. Let's look at the next one, NASA. How many of you have taken your kids on a field trip up to NASA? Yeah, Erica's like, yeah, that's an incredible place to go. Well, they also have an incredible STEM unit that you can use. When she gets back, we'll click on it so you can see all the different lesson plans. And that's the other thing. Some of you are CBOs, some of you are actual educators that have been trained. So what we want you to do is know you're not out there on an island by yourself. As an educator, you can take it to the next level and look at NASA, look at these different websites that have different curriculums. If you're a CBO, what's out there? How do I learn how to write a lesson plan? How do I align things with my needs assessment in my RFA and then be prepared for compliance monitoring? So STEM is one of the great NASA is one of the great places to engage in different STEM activities and get different lesson plans. I even break them down by grades and help you with that. I don't know, Erica, if you wanted to comment a moment on NASA.
So we did zero robotics several years ago with CPI and the State Department, but it was so great. We got to go on the Arsenal, which is like the behind the scenes that you don't get to go on. You don't realize how many people work on the Arsenal. It's kind of like a city within a city. And they're building all of the things that you're seeing, like they're building the rocket or pieces of the rocket that are going to go to Mars. So it was just really cool. We got to go to some zero gravity rooms. Like the kids had a ball. We really enjoyed it too. 'Cause I learned a lot about what was going on up there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. My nephew actually works at NASA. He has a doctorate degree in rocket science, something, something, something. So I've seen a lot of NASA, but what I also know is that the things that as an educator that I'm like, how can I take it to the next level? It's already here for us. So I encourage you to go there. I'm going to turn it over to Ellen and let her visit just a little bit about our component 5.
Might help if I unmute. Well, good morning. I found out that Angela wasn't going to be here at 5:30 this morning, so I've sort of looked over things and I'm just going to share a few things with you on component 5. If you really look at, in my opinion, your component 5 is probably the heartbeat of the 21st century grant. You know, it's your lesson plans, what you're going to do every day, how you're going to meet the needs of these students, looking at your needs assessment. So in looking at your component 5 in your RFA, you've got to also look at how it's going to be measured. And I think this is, you know, holding true to your compliance monitoring checklist here. And so we've got some changes with that this year as compared to the previous years. And one of those biggest changes is your work samples that are there. You know, years ago, we started having to do in regular day school and in after school sign-in sheets, because, you know, if you didn't have a sign-in sheet, you know, there was no evidence that it happened. Well, it's sort of the same thing with your work samples. You've got your lesson plans, but without those work samples, that's your evidence that that lesson actually took place. So in looking at the various components of number 5, let's look at these standards. If you look in your compliance monitoring checklist, it sort of spells it out for you. In standard 1A, you've got the enrichment, remediation, and tutoring. And with everything there, if you don't have your compliance monitoring checklist, pull it out. So let's look at it together. I don't know, do we have, there we go. All right, woohoo. Gotta love those who do this PowerPoint, Alicia and Rebecca and Annette. This is not my forte. But in looking at 1A, you see what it's asking you to do. All right, hang on. There we go. It's divided into quarters, and you can think about it as first 9 weeks, second 9 weeks, third 9 weeks, and fourth 9 weeks. That's sort of how our school year is broken down, and this sort of gives you monthly guidance of that as well. So you're looking at enrichment for each of those periods, and with that, looking for your lesson plans. And in that lesson plan, these are the things that you've got to have. You've got to have the date that it was taught, the grade level of that lesson plan. You've got to have the teacher's name who taught that. Then you've got to have your standard, and that's based on the Alabama State Course of Study, those standards that drive what we're teaching here. And without that, it's like driving somewhere without a roadmap. Yes, we've got Google Maps that help us get there, but you know, if you lose that Google Maps along the way, you got to have that layout of that hard copy of that plan. So here you are with your lesson plan. Your work samples also for that goes in there. You've got your tutoring and or remediation there, and your program schedules reflecting each of the following if applicable: your enrichment, remediation, and your tutoring. You've got to have your calendar, your schedule, your weekly schedule or daily schedule that has this on here when you're going to teach it. It also includes field trips for this that's there. Let's flip on to number 1B. Okay, these are course credits for grades 7 through 12. So if you've got a middle school or high school, this is applicable to you. And again, your lesson plans on credit recovery for the various grade levels with those same requirements there, and samples of credit recovery. You know, with your samples, it can be a picture. You know, the adage is a picture's worth 1,000 words. So, you know, use those pictures. One of the greatest ways to publicly let folks know what we're doing is Facebook. Everybody has a Facebook account and they go and look. Post your things on Facebook of students working. That's publicity. That's telling our story. That's getting us out there. On section 1C is something that we're going to skip over because this is not applicable to this. It just says we're accepting all students. So let's go on to D, 1D. One D is about nutritional education. Look at your RFA and see what you have in your grant for nutritional education and your physical education. These, again, are based on your quarters. You need a lesson plan based with the state course of study, what grade level, who's teaching it, with those. All right, 1D wasn't on there, 1E. All right, CDE. Technology and telecommunications. This is not just going to the computer lab. So many times we see a computer lab time on a schedule, but what are they doing in that computer lab? Are they just, playing a game? Are they, what skill are they learning with telecommunications? And I think Annette said it a while ago with the drones and the things. Those are the things that, we need to be looking at with teaching kids how to use that technology and those telecommunications. Also work samples along with this for each quarter. The schedule reflecting that computer time for the students. But again, it's not just about going to the computer and playing a game. It's what skills are we learning in that computer time. F is our career readiness. And you're saying, well, how does an elementary school student after school prepare for career readiness? Well, there's a lot of things that they can do. They can do their own kind of career fair. You've got guest speakers that can come in and talk about the various science aspects of jobs. Partner with your local community college or your post-secondary schools that are there. They've got many folks that can come in. Call the local veterinarian to come and give it a talk, or even that. If they can't come, they can do a Zoom or pre-record something to share with them. But there's many ways to whet students' appetites in the elementary grades as to what else is out there. It's not just a policeman, a fireman, and a teacher. So when you ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Those are the three top choices that the kindergartner is going to give you. Why? Because that's basically all they know and they see. So get creative with your careers there. All right, let's see what's the next one. Service learning. Y'all bear with me here.
That service learning is 1G. That's the one that I'm going to cover. That's component 8.
Right.
Ellen.
Okay.
So, and I'll take over from here. There was a question in the chat box that asked if you all had a copy of this checklist. This checklist is your compliance monitoring checklist. It's located on our 21st Century website under grantee forms. If you go in and just click on the grantee resources or grantee forms, I think is what it says, and then scroll down and you will find this compliance monitoring document. This is what you will need in order to implement the programs that we are, or that you will be presenting during your time in the grant. So on this particular one, 1G, it covers service learning. It's also component number 8 in your RFA. In with this component, the service learning, it needs to be a meaningful community service that uses both teaching and learning strategies, so that students are doing something positive within their community. And if you notice for 1G on your compliance monitoring, it says that the funds have to be used to offer students a broad array of additional services or programs or activities that are designed to reinforce and complement academics of participating students within that grant. So basically what we're trying to do with this is develop a plan for our students to give back basically to their community. And in doing so, you have to you can have one community service program that runs throughout the entire year, or you can have one per semester and then another one in the summer. what we need to do is when we're designing these lessons or this service learning project, one of the things that I did was I simply went out. There are a lot of different resources that are out on the web. Also, you can use Alex to go and pull different service learning activities. But one that I found, Alicia, if you could pull up that lesson plan, and it has to cover the 5 components of community service. This one is just, it's called Human Communities. This is a lesson plan. It gives you everything that you need in order to present a lesson plan. And this one, you can make it as long as you want, because in the lesson, it tells you that you can do it for 1 day or 2 days, or you can do it for weeks. So on this particular one, if you go down to the second sheet, okay, so all of that is some of the at the beginning of on that first sheet, it kind of prepares you and tells you what it is that you need in order to get the students ready. Now, if you notice, what I did was I went through this particular lesson and we had the information. The blue highlights are those components that are located within your RFA that tells you you have to do the investigation, the preparation, actions, reflection, and you have to show some type of demonstration or celebration. So if we just go back through and look at this just very briefly at some of the things that we can do in order to show that we are going to be presenting these students, first of all, I'm sorry, investigating. So you have to build that knowledge for those students to figure out what it is that you all want to do. So they have to, you have to ask the students to read a selected book about homelessness and materials from the local food bank or shelter. And then it gives you a lot of other things that the students can go through in order to investigate, you know, using, well, homelessness. It talks about the food insecurities. All of those things are things that the students will go in and they will investigate in order to start their service learning project. Then you move on down to the preparation part. So in this section, you will have, for this particular lesson, and notice that in this lesson plan that they gave it to you, it says you can use 2 to 4 class periods to go over this particular lesson or this service project. So for preparing the students, you can use what they have learned and have the students develop an informational poster to be placed around the school and the community to advertise their food or supply drives. So that prepares the students for what they are going to do. So right now, and they are writing letters to local businesses, asking for permissions to hang those posters. So it's preparing them for their action, which is the next part or the next component of service learning. The action is right there at the very beginning of this one. It says, go to work. So the students are going to conduct that food drive, and then they're going to partner with a local food bank or a homeless shelter, and then they will get involved in every aspect of the project to include advertising. They will develop or make the food bins to collect the food. So those are all actions that are preparing the students to get ready so that they can slow down right there, so that they can get into action and go on and do what they need to do for their community as far as with the food drive or feeding the homeless. But then right here, some additional actions or activities that the students can do. It says chart the type of food that they were collecting. By the item or by the pound, they can convert the food or food collected into meals, create a food bank mobile to raise awareness about the potential donors and ideas that are, and well, this was a list of or a website where you can find different ideas on how they can do, you know, different things to elaborate on that particular service project. And then finally, well, not finally, but the next thing is reflecting. They have to reflect on the work that they did with this service learning project. Why is it important to help other people in the community? So these are things that all the students, they need to reflect on and be able to give you some type of insight on what they gathered from participating in this particular service learning program or service learning activity. And then how does it make this community better for everyone? And then those are some other things. And then finally, if you notice, there were some other accommodation or modifications that you can do, and adding additional take action ideas. You can start a vegetable garden. You can host a free trade fair at your school to promote livable wages and education and developing the nation. So if you notice, like I said, there are a lot of different things or a lot of different ways that you can go to enhance the students' knowledge on this particular one with homelessness and providing food for those who are food insecure. And then finally, the demonstration part, which is the last, or demonstration or celebration, is the last component within the RFA that has to be included in your service learning. And it's simply, this one is a family connection. Send an informative letter or email outlining your project to the student's family, or you can have them create thank you meals for the parents or caregivers at a home, or have the students plan a meal using the types of foods that were collected in the food drive. So all of those are demonstrations, or it can be a celebration, however you want to do it, but it just, all service learning activities must include those 5 components, which are investigation, preparation, action, reflection, demonstration, and or celebration. All right, so now we're going to move on to component number 20, which will be covered by Erica. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on just for a minute. One other
Move back
thing
to
that
6.
I'm sorry, say that again.
You finish, we'll move back to 6.
Oh, okay. But one other thing that I just wanted to make sure that you notice within that, within the compliance monitoring, you simply have to go in and it, if you check off that you included all of those components that are necessary for your service learning project, but then also it tells you that you have to have some type of picture or PowerPoint, because not you may not, your service, all of your service activities may not have something that is written out, but I'm sorry, pictures are a demonstration of your service project, PowerPoint presentations. You can communicate via newsletters, flyers. So like those students, they had to prepare, they had to send out letters to businesses. All of those are documentation for your service learning project. And then the other part that's very, very key is the lesson plan related to that service learning project. And the document that I shared with you, that's a complete lesson plan of a service learning project. That's one that's just very easy. You can go out, find, tweak it to fit your needs. So you can go out and find all of these prepared lesson plans and make them as creative as possible, so that the students are doing things that they wouldn't normally do within their school day. And that's it. Now we're going to go back to component number 6.
Thank you, Rebecca. That tied everything together really, really well and flows into number 6, component number 6, which has to do with nutrition and health. What we want to talk about there is we see a lot in our office through approving applications, reading through different RFAs, nutrition. People, are going to cook. People are going to do a lot. They're going to have a garden. But where we miss the component sometimes is that, what about the fitness? Where are we with that aspect? And so what we want to do, we covered it earlier in 1D, how that aligns. It's lined out in your RFA, but what do we do? We go out and we just go, okay, it's kind of like recess. No, we want to make it fun. So Alicia, would you click on the YouTube, the brain break, please? When your students are coming in, I want them to be excited, not, oh, we got to go sit down and do homework help. We're going to go out and actually, hey, we're going to come in and we're going to be moving. We're going to be talking. We're going to have nutrition. We're going to have all those things, components. But the first thing we're going to do is get active.
Are you all able to hear the volume?
No, Alicia, at the top where it says view options, click that and see if you should see something that says optimize sound.
Here,
It should be on your screen, like where it says you are viewing your screen.
Come out of full screen.
What? There you go. While she's getting this, what we want to do is create that engaging atmosphere that the 21st Century Grant is created around. And it's not a sit and get or a traditional classroom. We want the kids moving. We want them active in whatever they're doing. If they're doing drones, if they're doing a service learning, whatever it may be. And the first way we can do that is when they come into our space, we get them moving, we get them going, not just sit down and eat a snack. If you're not able to get it, we can click back. That's okay. Can't hear it. So we'll just click back to it. But here's just a fun way with elementary kids. Hey, you come in, let's get moving, let's play some music, let's get around, get the blood flowing. And the data will tell you what, if the blood's flowing and you're moving, if you have a science class or a math class after you've had recess or physical education, your learning growth is a lot bigger. The data will tell you that. So that's the first thing we want to do. We want to align what we do with our different physical activities and our nutrition with our RFA, with the compliance standards that we've gone over. The other thing I want to talk about is, what if I don't have a board that I can put this kind of music or video up on? What do? I just have some basketballs, or I just have some, kickballs. Those things can also turn into great learning examples. If you have some basketballs, rather than just letting them go out and shoot, what can you do? Oh, there we go.
Move with me and shake the other to the right. Move with me, move with me. Everybody's exercising, everybody's feeling good. Everybody's exercising, everybody should. Wiggle your shoulders back and forth. Move with me, move with me. Wiggle your shoulders down to the floor. Move with me, move with me. Everybody's exercising, everybody's feeling good. Everybody's exercising, everybody should. Stretch your arms up to the sky. Move with me,
Lisa, that's good.
me. Bend down.
What we want to see here is, opposed to just taking a lap around the school, or, oh, okay, we're going to stand up and stretch. Let's get some music. Let's get some activities going. And then let's tie the nutrition together, the calories we're burning, the other things we're doing. But back to, what if you just have a basketball? What if you just have a kickball of some kind? And you're going to play Foursquare. How many of you have ever played Foursquare with your elementary kids? So when we're doing that, we can align that with the school day as to what math. Are they multiples of 2? Are they working on rocks and minerals? We can do all kinds of different things where when they hit the ball, they have to call out a rock or a mineral, or they have to call out 1 + 1 = 2. So 2 + 2, and they can go around like that. Also with basketball, some other things you can do is have them count by 3s, or have them multiply, and it's their turn to go. If they multiply as a team, and oh, the number's 2 and I'm number 2, so I get to go make a layup. But you really can incorporate a lot of different things here. The other thing I see really taking off in the middle school and the high school are the esports. And it brings in the STEM, it brings everything together, the teamwork, all the components that you have to do, and aligns with the nutrition and the health component of actually being a part of a team and all the things it takes to be a part of the team. So if you need more information on esports, let me know. I did put this picture over here because kids are really taken to that now, and they do have teams in the high school. And this would align with your RFA and would align with your components. as Ellen said earlier and Rebecca said, what you will need are pictures and examples of work samples of how these kids did these different things and how you prepared them. So I wanted to mention those things. I want to move, I want to have fun, I want activities going, you know, and line them all together, not just the nutrition and health, but the standards that Rebecca talked about, the standards that Ellen talked about, and then move forward to where everybody wants to be a part of your program, because we're coming in there, we're getting after it. We're not just sitting and doing homework help. All right, I'll turn it back over to you, Rebecca.
Okay, so now we've covered components number 5, 6, 7, and 8, and now we will have component number 20 by Erica.
Hang on, we haven't done 7.
Oh, you did Angela's. I'm sorry, Ellen. Go on. We're going to do number 7, Ellen.
All right, good
And
job.
Ellen, if you don't mind, if we can just touch back one of the pieces with the STEM and STEAM is making sure that we cover the compliance monitoring that's dealing with the documentation of it being shown through the compliance monitoring. I don't think you had a chance to go over that part, had you?
I don't think so. Hang on.
I think that's going to be, let me find.
The 1A, B, C, they're pretty common in each one of the components. I think you covered 1E, 1F. We didn't get to 2.
Okay, let me find where 2 is. All right, STEM and STEAM, yes. So with this on your compliance monitoring, this is on page 12. It's actually item number 2. It talks about your lesson plans with STEM and STEAM, and you've got to incorporate 3 or more of the following elements: science, technology, engineering, math, and art from various grade levels. And the thing is, it's incorporating those 3 elements into one lesson. Because you think about what you're doing, it's not just a math lesson. That doesn't denote it being a STEAM or a STEM. It's not just a science lesson. That doesn't make it STEM or STEM. It's where you're incorporating those 3 or more elements of those 5, which makes it a STEM or a STEAM lesson. It's hands-on, again, incorporating 3 of the 5 from various grade levels. There's some great resources out there. Y for Y, those that Angela, Annette had mentioned earlier are fantastic. You can, they're laid out there for you. Again, working with your local community colleges, even getting some high school students in there from your science teams there to come in and work with the kids. They would love that, just with those things. Family engagement events with STEM or STEAM, Annette had mentioned with the drones. What better way for parents to see what their kids are doing and for them to learn more about it as well? Field trips just abound. We're very fortunate in the state of Alabama to have Huntsville, the Space and Rocket Center. I know that's a little distance for some of you in South Alabama to go to, but again, it would be a wonderful trip for your students to take. So what else do we need to cover on that?
I will chime in just a little bit. Gulf Shores, Brittany Reeves, they have some excellent field trips and some STEM activities down there. She's presented a number of times for us, but she would be a good resource. Of course, we are. And Erica, I believe actually what she presented one time is up on the website. So you might look into that too.
All right. Moving on to 7. Parent and family engagement. What I want you to do right now is to take your RFA, and I want you to go to component 7 there in your RFA, and I want you quickly to jot down what you have listed as what you're planning on doing for your parent and family engagement in your RFA. I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes to do that. Just very quickly jot down what you've proposed to do for your parent and family engagement. Do, 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 do. All right, quick minute. There we go. So I want you to look at what you just jotted down. Would you want to be a participant in that? Don't answer out loud. What we need to do is to truly look at what engagement is. You know, when you think about engagement, the first thing that jumps to your mind is wedding engagement. And it takes two. Well, it takes two. It takes the parent and it takes the school to have that engagement. It takes the parents and family, and it takes that with the after school program. So that's what we want to do, is to make this connection. So many times our parents don't feel comfortable coming into our schools. They didn't have possibly a good experience when they were in school, so they don't want to come and want to avoid it. We need to look at who our audience is, what their needs are. This goes back to your needs assessment. Part of the reason that you got this grant was probably because you are have a lot of poverty in your area. You have educational needs from your community, So how can you say that, you know, we're going to provide help parents provide homework help when they might not have the skills to assist with that homework? A story that I have hits very close to home with this. My first year of teaching, I taught second grade, and I had a little boy who just was failing everything. He was very quiet, very subdued, didn't participate in a lot of things. And so I asked for his mom to come in for a parent conference. And, you know, back years ago, spelling was the big thing. You know, you gave that spelling list out on Monday, you gave a pre-test on Thursday, and you had to make 100 on that test on Friday because you'd written those words 3 times every day as part of your sit and get work. So by golly, you should have known those spelling words, whether you got homework help at home or not. So I talked to her about his spelling grades, and she said, Miss Martin, she said, and she sort of dropped her head and she says, I don't know how to read, so I don't know what those words are, and I can't help him. You talking about a gut punch right there. How can we expect our parents to do this when they don't have the skill set to assist with? So I'll hook them up with a Lawbach literacy through our Salvation Army, and the whole family went and learned to read within that year. Those things are out there. One of the things that is part of this family and parent engagement is providing those parents with the skills that they need to help their child. So what we need to do is we need to know who our audience is. Think about this. It's not just the young parents that might not know, or the parents that don't necessarily have the educational background to assist. Think about the number of grandparents you've got raising kids today. You know what? Those kids are more tech savvy than they are, and they can certainly, push things over on those grandparents' plates because they don't know that technology. Some of the things that to look into providing with your parents for activities, doing some cyberbullying classes. How many times in the school setting have you had to deal with somebody bullying somebody with text messages and whatnot? Vaping is another biggie out there right now. Parents, a lot of them don't have a clue about vaping. They don't know if their kids are vaping because you know what? You can vape in a pen. The behavior aspect of the grant is one of the goals of our grants. And so those are the kind of things that we need to be providing our parents with tools to assist there. Internet safety is a big one. Our sheriff's department have folks on board that can do internet safety for our parents. Those are things that would be very beneficial to them. Must-haves. You're required in this grant to have a parent meeting mandatory before your sessions begin before school starts in August. You need to send out an invitation to them. You need to have a sign-in sheet when they come. You need to have an agenda of the meeting. You need to have somebody taking notes of that meeting. and of course, take pictures. That lets parents know the goals and objectives of the program. That talks to them about safety procedures there, sign in and sign out, and what their expectations are. I've seen schools that did a parent-student after-school program compact with them. So let them know what their responsibilities were to be a part of your after-school program, what the students' responsibilities were to be a part of that after-school program, and what the after-school program's responsibility was. That's just sort of lays things out that these are our expectations there. You're required to have one before your summer program. Again, invite to those who are coming to your summer program, sign-in sheet, agenda, minutes, and then take pictures. Then additionally to that, you're supposed to have, not supposed to, you're required to have one family event per quarter. I mentioned several things right there that would be some great opportunities there. You've got a parent advisory committee. Their job is to help advise to make your program better. Ask them what the needs are. Survey your parents to find what they might want to have is in a parent engagement program. A principal I worked for one time in talking about getting parents to come out said, well, we can take every student and parade him across the stage and we'd have every parent in here. It didn't matter if they did anything or not. That's not what this is about. This is about actively engaging our parents in their students' education and preparing them. On your components, 1F, H, L, and M, career events, I briefly talked about that in component 5. Arts and music, those are great ways to bring parents in to showcase what the students have done. Also, you can have a paint party with parents. That'd be a wonderful way. Students are studying various artists, have parents to come in and paint with their child. Cultural diversity is also an easy parent engagement opportunity. One of the best financial literacy parent engagements I've seen is was done by a local bank. They're always willing to get out there and help with a book called Beatrice's Goat. Beatrice was a girl and she lived in a very impoverished area and was given a goat. And it's how she used that goat to make money selling milk and soaps and so forth to get more money to get her to school and also to provide the opportunities for others to go. It showcased how to build budgets, how important it is to save. And also they talked about the mortgage rates and things, better ways to handle your money in economic challenges as we have right now. Your environmental literacy is also on 1M. Spring planning we look at. There are various resources out there that are more than willing to come in and help. Each county has an extension office. They do some great things on environmental literacy. Also, soil and water conservation and your Farmers Federation. Reach out to these to have those folks to come in and present for you. We talked briefly about STEM and STEAM. Also, component number 3 is talking about have parents been notified of parent and family engagement activities? And it goes back to the items that you need to have in that documentation that you have done parent and engaging activities. Wonderful resources, Y for Y. A lot of schools now have parent resource rooms. Check with your LEA to see about that parent resource room. Introduce those parents to that parent resource room if there is one. With ESSER money that's been available for the past year or so, a lot of schools have hired a parent family liaison with the school and the parents. Check to see if your local LEA has that. Those are just a little bit of tidbits about component number 7.
Okay, thank you, Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
Service learning is what's on the screen, but we've already covered that. Like I said, if you have any questions in reference to any of the things that we've covered thus far, make sure that you please reach out to us, or at the end of this, I'll open it up just for a few questions so that we can go on and kind of answer those questions. Now we will go into component number 20 with Erica. This is on program evaluation. Alicia, you can, oh, okay.
Okay, so sorry, didn't know I was presenting today. But I can talk about program evaluation anytime. Every cohort grantee is supposed to have an external evaluator. So that's the first part of the program evaluation is that you have a program evaluator and it's specified in the RFA how much you can pay that person. It needs to be an outside. When we say external, we really mean on the outside, not worked in your district previously, not worked for your CBO, not helped you wrote the grant, any of that. That person should be external and they should be giving a external kind of evaluation of your program. They should give an outlook. They are not there to do a gotcha or something like that. They are there to give you to do observations, and the observation, they have observation tools that they use and training that they receive from us. That's the NIOSH training that they receive online, and it'll be available to y'all also. And then we generally did like a 2-hour training that we do in the fall for our external evaluators. So they'll come in, do an observation each semester. So it's fall and spring, and then they'll do one during the summer. They will also, but if you're cohort 16 and you just started December-ish, we're not looking for your external evaluator to have done an evaluation for the fall because you just started. So for this year, they'll just do a spring and a summer if you have a summer program. But make sure that you are getting your deliverables from your external evaluator and you're communicating with them on a regular basis. So you should be receiving, they should already have done an evaluation plan. If you're cohort 15, that was already turned in, submitted on the 15th, but if you're and we have some that are missing. So if you have not turned it in, please submit it. It does need to be completed by your external evaluator and signed by your program or your site director. So make sure that when they uploaded it, you signed it to make sure that it was complete and that you saw it and received a copy. So if you did not sign it before they uploaded, please make sure that you sign it and they re-upload it again.
Can I ask you a question, Erica, with that?
Go ahead.
Do the external evaluators sign it as well? Should it
Yes.
have a signature from them as well? Okay,
I
so it
believe
should
they
be
had
the
both.
grantee, someone from the grantee, which would be the program director, and then the actual external evaluator should be signing it, correct?
Yes, correct.
Because my understanding, Annette, just to make sure that we don't have any auditing issues, it's not really considered valid until there's a signature. Am I correct to say that, Annette?
You are correct. And that's some of the applications we've had. We've sent back or contacted them to send us as TPI, the signature page.
Yes, so pretty much every document that we have at this point, we've added a signature page to it for the program director and external evaluator to sign. So make sure that you sign it. That's we want to verify that you looked at these. These are not gotcha forms. These are not things that they're secret documents that your external evaluator has between them and TPI and ALSD. You're a part of this too. Your organization or your LEA pays a percentage of your budget, which is a large, is a large pot of money, to this person to actually complete these documents. And so we want to make sure that they complete them thoroughly and that you believe that the information that is in the document are actually correct. You'd be surprised how many typos and incorrect document that we see. If I look in Easy Report and I look at your numbers and I say that you were supposed to service 125 students, but your external evaluator says that you were supposed to serve 80. Well, that's incorrect. And that was an obvious number that you could have corrected if you looked at the document before the external evaluator submitted it to us. So don't look at the deadlines for the documents as these are deadlines that you should give your external evaluator. No, your deadline for your external evaluator should be a couple of weeks before my deadline so that you have an opportunity to look at it and kind of make changes or make updates that you see. Read the whole document before it's submitted to us, and that gives you time to sign it, they sign it, and then submit. So that's the evaluation plan. Mid-year reports are coming up to be due. Cohort 16, your deadlines are a little bit different because you're just starting. So mid-year plans are due I think next month. in this month and next month for cohort 15. I think it's the 15th, and then for cohort for the 30th. But the deadlines were in the email that I sent on Friday. So, and the templates were also. So the mid-year report is just the same document that Alicia went over on our last training last week. It's just a checkup. We want you to look at your goals and objectives that you wrote in your grant, or that someone else wrote in your grant initially. And we want you to make sure that what you are doing is aligning with your goals and objectives. So what is the action that what's the action that you're doing right now? And if you're not doing it, hey, I haven't started my service learning project yet. So this is your checkup to say, hey, let me figure out what my service learning project is going to be for the spring. Let me, figure out who's going to complete it, who's going to gather the things, and how are we going to get it done? What's the timeline for it? So that's what the mid-year report is, so that you can do a checkup on your own program for your RFA to say, what are you supposed to be doing as far as what you wrote in your RFA, and how do you complete those? So you'll turn those into CPI also. Those have a signature line on them. Also, you need to sign it in. You need to send it to your external evaluator so that your external evaluator knows what your plan is for your program and what you plan on implementing, so that maybe y'all can schedule a time where they can come and do some observations of these different activities that you're saying that you're going to do. It's kind of a check-in, like I said. And then the next report that you're going to complete, 3 different reports in a year, is your final report. It'll be due September 30th. That date is the same for both cohort 15 and 16, because that will be the end of our fiscal year. So September 30th, it will be uploaded. It needs to be signed by you and your external evaluator, and it needs to be sent. You'll upload it to me through our Qualtrics system. We'll send you the link. The link is generally on the template, but you'll also send it to your TA. And hopefully by then we'll have assigned TAs, because that'll be later in the year. We'll have every spot filled. We're thinking positively. So you'll have your TA to send it, but make sure that, if you've changed TAs throughout the year, if you had some of the TAs that have left throughout the year, make sure that you update that with your external evaluator. They don't know all the different changes that we've had in 21st century. They can't keep up. I'm just going to be honest. So when you're getting your copy of your final report ahead of the September 30th deadline, you should be making the correction. Hey, no, this is no longer our external evaluator. Put the correct person's name on here so that it can be sent to the correct person. So just FYI, but also this final report, we are going to put the external evaluators in, and we're doing that this week, into Easy Report so that they have access to the report, and we'll show them how to pull the report. They're in Easy Report as a read-only user, and we have reminded them of the FERPA things, and you should remind them of the FERPA things that should be in your contract with your external evaluator. But we'll do that this week, so just be mindful that they'll have access. So they should not be asking you for several reports to pull before the end of the grant year for the final report. For the summer reports and for the school year reports, they should be able to pull their own so that they can add them to the final report. That does not mean that they're not going to ask you for different information, though. They still need updates on your program that are not included in Easy Report. Your staff turnover might not exactly be in Easy Report the correct way. What professional development you've had throughout the year, although you can add them to Easy Report. That's a new function that we got last year. They're going to need you to compile that list and send that to them so that they can make sure it's accurate. What activities that you have done that you might not have, your parent orientation, you might not have added it into Easy Report. I suggest you do, but those are things that they're going to be asking you. They're still going to need a program update for a better picture outside of what's in Easy Report. So they still will be asking you for things, and you should be very responsive with your external evaluator. Again, this relationship building, they're a partner. They're not a gotcha person. You pay them. Your organization or your LEA pays them. So you should have a great relationship with that person. And if you feel like, hey, this relationship has been shaky, I'm not sure about this person, I didn't like the report, whatever the case, we really push that you only have a contract with them for 1 year. Because, hey, the relationship might not have worked out. You might not like their report, whatever the case may be. So that next year, after they submit your final report, you start looking for another external evaluator. We do another contract with them for 1 year. This new person comes in and they do the training with us, and you start anew with them. That's a possibility. Don't think that, oh, I don't like this person. We don't click, we don't mesh, and that's okay. You can find another external evaluator. We can start over. Don't think that, oh, we've used this person forever. This person has 10 other grantees that they use. Hey, the person who has 10 might not have time for your grant, and you might not like scheduling them exactly, the date and time. There are other people out here that have training to do program evaluation and can pull reports together for you also. So be mindful of that. But the final report is due September 30th. That's the same date for everyone. All of these updates on the trainings will be available in my emails, and there's actually a section on the website under the grantee forms that has the external evaluation documents with the templates on there that you can look at any point to get updated about it. We'll also be doing a training at ACEA on Easy Report, and we'll include some things about the external evaluation part also. So, but the NIOSH training is coming. I'll let y'all know when we're finalizing contracts and all that, when the user names and stuff like that are available, so that you can do your own program evaluation before your external evaluator comes in. The NIOSH training is going to have videos and all this type of training where you can literally, they're going to show you how to look at your program objectively and look at your lessons that you're providing for students in a lens that shows what are they really learning from this? Is this a multidimensional lesson, so that your students can get the most from after school? And so that is a good tool to be able to use. It'll be available free for the grantees and for the external evaluators, so that you can look at your program and do kind of an evaluation observation on a regular basis with your staff. You might be a program manager in your site. You can go in and do an assessment on your site and give them some feedback before your external evaluator comes, because your external evaluator only has to come once a semester. You're in your programs every day, so you want to be constantly making evaluations and changes to make your program better throughout the year, not just the one time a semester that your external evaluation comes. So external evaluation templates are on the website. If you have questions on the external evaluation or the evaluation, let me know, and we should be getting your external evaluators and Easy Report this week. That's our deadline. And NIOSH training login should be coming soon. So that's all like that.
You, Erica. I was going to mention real quick that today we're heavy on implementation. We've talked a lot about alignment and how to read your RFA and how to align it with our compliance checklist. But today we focused really heavy on implementation. So if you're thinking, well, I didn't have drones in my application, or I didn't have this field trip or that field trip, please contact your TA, contact us, and we'll walk you through the process for any kind of amendments that you may want to put in for us to look at approving. So I wanted to mention that, because a lot of times we come up with great ideas, or we network together and we go, oh, I want to bring that back to my program. But remember, we go back to the core, which is the alignment of the approved RFA application, what you said you were going to do, onto the compliance checklist. So if you have any additions, any changes you want to make sure you reach out to us. All right, Dr. Pines.
Okay, so that basically concludes our our training for today. We covered the lesson plans and making sure that you use that sample lesson plan that's on the website. If you go to 21st Century, this was a question that was in the chat box. On the 21st Century website, go on to 21st Century CCL operations. And then once you go under that, just you can put in lesson plans over in the search key, or you can scroll down and you can find that sample lesson plan. And then also we talked about the STEM and the STEAM, making sure that you have 3 or more of those elements in those lessons. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so she went in, go to the operations, 21st Century operations. And then in the search key, or the search bar up at the top, if you just type in lesson or lesson plan, and then go back over to the, and then there's the sample lesson plan for those of you that needed to get to that particular format for your lesson plans. And then also we talked about, you know, when you're doing your STEAM or STEM lesson plans that you incorporate 3 or more of those elements, science, technology, math, or it must be more than just one. You cannot have just one of those components or elements. For nutrition and health, component number 6, ensuring that you're getting those students up and you're moving, trying to come up with creative ways in order to get those students involved in the nutrition and health portion of your grant. Family engagement, making sure we are meeting the needs of those parents or family members so that they can help those students that are in our program. And then we talked about the service learning, making sure that you incorporate the 5 components, which are investigate, preparation, action, reflection, demonstration, and demonstration and or celebration. And then our last component that we spoke on was the program evaluation, which Erica just went into great details about that, making sure that when you're submitting your program evaluators document that you have both your signature and that program evaluator's signature on those forms that you are presenting or are turning in to us. As far as our required training that's coming up, let's see, I gotta make my window larger so I can see everything. Okay, so our next training will take place on July 24th and then again on July 31st. Both of those,
January.
I'm sorry, January. I'm already in the summer. That's one of my favorite times of the year. But January 24th and January 31st, both of those trainings will take place at 9:30 and continue until 11:30. If you did not put your name and your site in the chat box, make sure that you've included that before we get off of this conference call. The AAA conference is coming up soon. If you didn't read it in the chat from Annette, the approved RFA grant application on who must attend. So everybody that had the approved RFA grant for cohort number 16, you must be in attendance of in the ACEA conference that will be coming up very soon. All right, are there any other questions from anyone else that's on? If you have any questions, you can unmute and ask those questions at this time. Okay, hearing none, this concludes our training for today. We look forward to seeing you all again on the 24th and on the 31st. And if you need us for anything here at the State Department, please reach out to us at 334-694-4516. Did I say that right? Or 4916? Licia?
45,
45, that was correct. Okay, 4516. All right, so that's all we have for you all today. And we look forward to seeing you on the 24th. Have a great, great day.